Hey guys, as you can see, you got a lot going on in the shop here. I know I haven't posted in a while. I guess I've been on this kind of infatuation with the notion of wanting to build a Ninja 500. I've built and raced the Ninja 400 for so long, but all the parts actually transfer straight over from my research, but I'm yet to put it into action until now. I got a wrecked 500. That was a great deal. And so I've been in the process of transferring all the parts, all the race parts from that bike over to this one. So I can pretty much confirm that most of the parts transfer right over. But I'll do some couple of in-depth little videos on or clips on everything I transferred and how exactly they matched up and how similar this bike is to the Ninja 400. So everything I've done, a quick recap. I kind of came home as soon as I bought this bike and I immediately started taking it apart, as you can see. The plastics were kind of a little bit rash. The guy had crashed it on both sides. And the bike only has 900 miles, so I kind of caught a good deal on it, so I'm happy no matter what. But the bike did have the front wheel was bent, which I'll show you guys a picture of right here. What is this, Teddy? So that's not good. Damn, just noticed that. And on top of that, that was about it. There wasn't really much other real damage to the bike. I mean, just plastics and aesthetic stuff. So what I've done here is so far, I've swapped the front forks from the Race Ninja 400 over to the 500. I have also swapped the clip-ons over to here. I've swapped the race pod along with it has an integrated key delete in here. So that's ready to go. And I actually just swapped the whole top triple onto that bike over there, which I'm gonna probably plan on selling as just a track day bike because it still is good. It has the undercut transmission, which is like the best money you can spend on Ninja 400 is because the transmission, it drops gears. They're cast gears, they're not forged, so it just doesn't give you that fine defined point clicking gears sometimes, and it also it wants to slip out of gear, so when you get them undercut, that stops all that from happening. So that itself is like $2,000, and I'm going to leave some parts on there that are nice. So I mean, it would be a great track day bike, or if someone wants to buy it and then just do suspension on it, it's ready to go. The next order of business would be to swap the K-Tech rear onto this bike, which still has a stock, which I'm gonna do next. But I went ahead and left the Vortex sprocket and chain on here as well. I'm gonna leave the bodywork. I'm just gonna get new bodywork for this one. I'm thinking I may get the GP style bodywork. And I put the stock can from that bike over to here. All of this went from this to this with it was like putting it on the same bike. The biggest difference I've found with this bike compared to the Ninja 400, the 500 that's different, is this valve cover, or like the cylinder head cover. It is a little bit different. It does seem a little bit taller in a way. So I don't know if they changed some stuff. From my understanding, they've essentially increased the stroke length to get the extra, whatever, some odd 50 plus cc's, because this is a 450, even though they call it a 500, and that's a 391, I believe, which they call it a 400. So I have swapped over my battery, my lightweight battery. I actually already installed my rain light. So I got the rain light installed, pretty bright. And I got the power commander in here along with the auto tune and the wideband O2 sensor on the M4 titanium exhaust, which I also swapped over, obviously. And then I got the airbox off. I just went ahead and did a direct swap airbox for airbox because I just like my airbox better. It also has the velocity stacks in it. But yeah, this bike has everything you can want. And also the quick shifter. So I was telling you that the valve cover is a little bit different on this bike, but the ignition coils are the same because the quick shifter plugs directly straight into them. I mean, no modification required. So if you want to build one of these, all the parts are already available. The Ninja 400 parts fit on this bike from what I've found through a little bit of trial and error. It seems like if you buy Ninja 400 parts, they will fit on this bike almost directly with everything, including the bodywork. So I'm going to keep going with this build. All right, guys, so I just got the ABS system out of this bike and that's like one of the first things I wanted to do, but it is kind of a big hassle. And if you notice, look how complicated this is. So you can't expect to have any sort of braking feel, because this is essentially going to remove a lot of braking feel, especially on the track. And I personally like to ride by the feel of the brakes, and this was going to completely eliminate that, because you essentially have from your hand position, from where the brake master is, going to the ABS, and then it goes to the front caliper. And the ABS is essentially stopping you from locking up the front, but it also may not be allowing you to apply the pressure that you'd like. And the same goes for the rear. You see how nice and clean this master is. I mean, it's just straight master, braided brake line as well, so no loss of pressure, straight to the front caliper. Simple. So whatever is happening here is also happening down there. There's nothing in between it. But yeah, I got that done. I got if I can pull it around over here, Flash Tune ABS. I got on here, see if it stops my light, check engine light from coming on. So I also want to show you guys a little trick that I did when I was swapping the forks. And everyone, I feel like, is always obsessed with getting the micrometer out here and trying to measure the exact on both sides here. But the bottom line is the internals, especially if they're not stock, they're going to be there's going to be like minute differences from one fork leg to the other fork leg. So I tried this hack that I saw where this guy actually, after installing the forks, he puts a level on here and then levels this out to, because this is where, pun intended, this is where the rubber meets the road, on this end of the fork, not really on that end. So this is more important that it's nice and level. You definitely want that to be level, so when the wheel goes on there, the wheel is going to be level in there as well. And if you can see, I mean, I've never had an axle that's been just so free moving. I mean, this thing is like, I got tightened up a little bit, but it's so free moving in there. And I think that's just going to help everything, to be honest here. So yeah, I'm really pretty happy about that. So yeah. All right, guys, so I got the stock pogo stick rear shock out of the Ninja 500, and I realized I only have 2 jack stands, which is how you're supposed to do it, so you can let the weight of the bike off the swing arm so you can pull this out. So yeah, with this bike, I'm gonna now have some trouble, because as you can see, I got, well, number one, I only have 2 sets of jack stands, but I probably could have now transferred them over to here, which would be fine. But the problem is that the rear sets, the stock rear sets, they break away. So there's no really any good spot I could get them that I could get enough bite that I would be okay with letting the bike off of that. So I'm gonna have to do some finagling with some hanging anchor in here. So I'll try if I can to take a quick photo, but can't make any promises. I'm just gonna try to swap this as fast as I possibly can. All right, guys, I'm gonna be super quick here. The little garage hanger setup worked enough for me to get the K-Tech out, and I'm gonna get the other one straight away. I'm gonna get it in right now. All right, guys, so after that proper finaglement right there, I finally got the rears swapped. I knew the rears would be a little tougher than the fronts, but yep, got them swapped, and they actually went in perfect swap. It wasn't any sort of issue. It's essentially the same part, I assume, especially for suspension. I noticed the 400 and 500 suspension on all the aftermarket websites, they seem to be interchangeable. The EX400 and the EX500, which is essentially both platforms. So yeah, Hopefully I can get the throttle bodies on real fast. Get the tank on, get some fuel on. Fuel line's hooked up, and I'll do a quick start. I'm excited to start this thing finally. It's not always the best feeling when you do all this. And the only reason you're doing it is to, when you click the start button, the bike just fires up and runs the way it
That's not gonna work.
should. So hopefully I can get it started here in a second.
Guess it's not gonna work after all.
All right, guys, got the tank on. In theory, I haven't even tried it yet. The bike should fire up with all the upgrades. And I'm gonna test the quick shifter. Hopefully that's working too. Apollo's here. You ready? All right. Make sure we got clearance for everything. All this looks good. Oh, that's pretty far tucked away. This is interesting. It's so crazy that the wires, they purposely run them right next to the chain. All right, Apollo's excited. You ready? You want to do it? Press the red. All right, now press the green. Go ahead, one more time. Hold on. So yeah, guys, the bike needed the stock ignition because unlike a regular 400 or a non-key fob ignition, so this bike actually utilizes a key fob. So when you bring the key fob close and you press this button, it recognizes the key fob's there. You turn the switch, it turns it on. So what I realized through trial and error is that the regular ignition has just one wire or one set of wires or one connector that comes out of this and that goes to essentially the ECU. However, the key fob ignition has two sets of wires. One of them being one that goes to, ironically, the tip over sensor in the front and then to the fuel tank. It's a yellow wire and a brown wire with the black line. And when I realized that, I realized, okay, that's some type of safety feature or fall safe to where this key fob will maybe, haven't tested yet, will turn the bike off if it gets too far away. So, yes.
How you put that line to this one?
Okay, we can do that. So let's go ahead and do a startup here. Apollo, you want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, so turn it. Turn it. There you go. Now come around.
Okay, now they're ready?
The red.
Okay.
And now the green. So I took it over to a local wheel shop, and man, they really did a good job. So just wheel and tire repair in Houston. I mean, they did a really excellent job. You honestly, it's so perfectly straight now. I mean, it's pretty cool. They did a great job. They painted, and then get it mounted up. So we'll see how that goes. I'm actually heading to the store right now to grab the Kawasaki green paint, which is paint code 777. That's Kawasaki green. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this anyway, just to match it. You ready? Let's go. If you want to see my cool spray setup, so actually I just sprayed this wheel down that I got repaired, and kind of happy with the color. It didn't really exactly match, but I mean, hey, it's a race bike, so as long as it looks good, spinning fast, that's all that ever really matters. So I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna go ahead and do one more coat on there just because, and don't be ready to let it dry overnight and then swap the tires on it as well.